Welcome to Making the Metaverse. In this video, we're going to be giving you everything you need to know about the Ethereum Merge. There's a hell of a lot going on in the crypto space, a lot of talk around the Ethereum Merge, what that means for the blockchain crypto community. And James, you are our resident blockchain expert here at Social Tree. Recently completed a blockchain course, Oxford University. You've gone deep into this into this realm. And although I am passionate about crypto, I think you've definitely got the depth of knowledge here at Social Tree. So I want to kind of interview you in this video to understand what this merge means, what it means for all of our users out there, and a beginner's video as well. So not to go too technical, too deep. What does it mean in layman terms? So in terms of like breaking down this topic, first of all, what is meant by the virtual machine? What is Ethereum? What's the virtual machine? Just a quick breakdown for the viewers out there.
So if we step back to, I think, 2014, you had the introduction, the introduction of Bitcoin, the rise to prominence of Bitcoin as the dominant crypto. And then you had the emergence of another cryptocurrency and one blockchain developed by Vitalik Buterin. And the Vitalik's vision was to create a programmable blockchain in which you could actually create applications on top of the blockchain layer. So that was where Ethereum was born. It was born in 2014 by a genius, Vitalik Buterin, who's an absolute genius. And since then, Ethereum has become the second biggest crypto. And one of the big visions of Vitalik and the Ethereum developer community is obviously decentralization is a massive, massive important factor. But secondarily, it's the idea of having a truly virtual machine, which is decentralized as well. So virtual machines, like a virtual desktop, has been around for a long time. But a virtual machine could be a theoretical machine which is based entirely through the decentralized blockchain network. So that's kind of the big idea of the virtual machine. And the Ethereum blockchain has gone from strength to strength, and we are now at a very important time of not only Ethereum's history, but I think the whole space's history as we move into this seismic event of the merge.
Yeah. And the way I kind of understood it is that Bitcoin obviously has one function which is for money. So it's got one function which is all at one application. But like I said, the Ethereum you can program many applications. It's much more built for developers. And I think some people again trying to do this video for the layman's out there, people who are new to crypto. Some people can get confused between the Ethereum network and Ether and can you just break down the difference between the different terms that go around Ethereum and just to educate the audience a bit on the different terminology within
absolutely.
space.
So Ethereum is the name of the blockchain and Ether is the cryptocurrency which is associated to the blockchain. So they're two different things. So people talk about Ethereum and Ether interchangeably, but they are different. So Ether is essentially the cryptocurrency of the Ethereum blockchain, and Ethereum is the blockchain itself. And the kind of big, and kind of back to your original point, Bitcoin's original conception was to be a form of money. However, since that time, it hasn't really lived up to potential to become money because it's just simply too slow. Transaction speeds, slow and expensive. So Bitcoin has moved to more of a store of value narrative where you can kind of store these pristine pieces of value of a digital network.
It's also very volatile, the Bitcoin as a currency, isn't it? It's very hard.
Very volatile.
One day it can be a certain amount. You might lose $5,000 the next day.
Absolutely. How could you have a currency which has still a massive volatility? So it's a store of value narrative is very strong. Whereas Ethereum, as you said correctly, there is a narrative which is essentially one in which programs can be developed on top of it, which I think is very exciting. And I think there's also an even bigger change, which is the emerging difference in terms of consensus mechanisms between proof of work and proof of stake, which is what is going to happen, touch wood, to Ethereum very, very soon. That's a massive change for the cryptocurrency community. It's happening very soon.
So that's obviously the merge. And could you just take the viewers through through the merge, like why,
Yeah.
how it's come about, why is the merge happening, and
Yeah.
what it kind of means for us out there.
Yeah, good question. So the merge has been, put simply, the merge is the move from Ethereum's network to move from proof of work to proof of stake. At the moment, Ethereum uses proof of work, and I'll explain what these mean. So a blockchain uses something called a consensus mechanism, which essentially is a methodology as to how you can create trust in trustless networks. That's what blockchains are. They are mechanisms in which you can develop trust in trustless network. I don't trust you, you don't trust me. How do we mutually create a network in which we can transfer trust between two parties who don't trust each other? And that consensus mechanism, it's called a consensus mechanism, that can be achieved through many different ways. I think there's 7 different types of consensus mechanisms, but the most popular at the moment is proof of work, and secondary is proof of stake. Proof of work is the consensus mechanism which Bitcoin uses, and that is the original consensus mechanism. It is a very, very crude and high energy way to create trust in trustless networks. And how you achieve that is through the Bitcoin network. You have lots of different miners or validators on the network. In order to exercise and to approve transactions on the blockchain and be rewarded, you are tasked with solving very complicated puzzles. And that puzzle requires incremental more energy depending on how much the network is used. So the more people that use Bitcoin, the more energy you need to solve the puzzle. So when you first had Bitcoin, it was quite easy. You know, back in 2013, you could probably have a home computer and you could get some Bitcoin for solving some of the puzzles through proof of work. Fast forward to now, you need whole mining operations. You need literally the power of countries to really get your Bitcoin. And actually, I think last year, Bitcoin used more power than Pakistan.
Yeah.
So it's incredibly energy intensive.
I saw a lot in the news of a lot of raids on miners because they're taking so much off the grid.
Yeah.
You know, like they're literally in Iran and stuff. Like
China as
people
well.
are dragging so much energy off the grid that they're having to actually raid the farms to shut them down because they're just so it's not sustainable, is it, that model, like especially in the world of ESG and people taking the environment so seriously. And it's a massive issue, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and you're completely right. Again, like proof of work is very energy intensive. We're moving to a world where energy is so important, you know, energy consumption. There is the argument of obviously you could use renewable energy to do proof of work, but that's another topic, and that's where proof of stake comes in. Proof of stake is a different consensus mechanism which allows stakers, which are people who stake Ether as a currency onto the network. You're putting skin in the game in return to become at random validator of transactions. So proof of stake is saying, here's my money. Traditionally, or as we move to proof of stake, there is a 32 ETH minimum level to become a validator. Yeah. So that is about, at the time of speaking, it's about 90,000 USD. So quite a lot of money. So you don't have you're gonna have to have quite a bit of money to even to play ball. You can be someone with small amounts of ETH, and you can join a pool in which you can contribute small amounts of ETH to that 32 ETH to then become a validator. So you can do that on like Coinbase and Rocket Pool and other applications. So proof of stake is very different, and proof of stake is different to proof of work because you are staking currency rather than staking energy. So the exchange of, I suppose the skin in the game is currency over energy. That's probably the big difference. So very, very different. And I think the main point which you made was proof of stake has a massive advantage in that it's going to be using 99.92% less energy than the current proof of work blockchain consensus mechanism, which is being used on Ethereum and Bitcoin at the moment.
Yeah, I saw an interesting proof of concept. I think it's from Tesla, who are trying to make a renewable sort of Bitcoin mining operation. So I think there's perhaps down the road issues around it, but I think it's not just the environmental issues, is it? It's also the actual just the speed of the network. It's going to be a lot faster, and it's going to be a lot more efficient running it, as well as more environmentally friendly.
Absolutely.
And So in terms of like the pitfalls and opportunity around this, what kind of, if the audience are looking to understand the merge, understand what this means, what's the pitfalls and opportunity of what's going on at the moment?
So the merge, to kind of explain what's happening. So the last 5 years is always part of Ethereum's roadmap to move from proof of work to proof of stake. It's always been part of the journey. It hasn't been something let's move to proof of stake. Since day one, there has been the push to move to proof of stake. So what's happening now is that journey is concluding, or at least the end of the beginning is concluding, and Ethereum at the moment is running two parallel chains. In 2020, a beacon chain was released, which is essentially a parallel chain running alongside the mainnet, which was already operating in a proof of stake, essentially, mechanism, when you had the proof of work mechanism, which was the mainnet. So for the last few years, this test net has been evolving, and what's going to happen very imminently is, through the magic of the developer community at Ethereum, the two chains are going to merge into one proof of stake consensus mechanism blockchain. So the settlement layer, all layers will be, or at least some of the layers will be proof of stake. So that's why it's such an exciting shift, because you're going to have a move of the second largest cryptocurrency and second largest blockchain to proof of stake. So there's a massive, massive change. It's moving away from proof of work. Opportunities are, of course, look at this from many different angles. The environment could be a massive, massive plus for the environment. I think for ESG, for people who are concerned about blockchain and cryptocurrency as very energy intensive, I think you have a really interesting potential financial upswing in terms of what would happen to Ethereum as a currency, to Ether. There is a theory of the triple halving, which is essentially a theory in which, when Ethereum moves to proof of stake, the rewards which were given to miners for proof of work will now be given to stakers. So you're going to have really high APR interest accruable when you stake your crypto with your ETH. So you will get like 7%. Just by keeping your ETH on as a validator or sharing your ETH in a pool. So really exciting there. You will get some really good rewards. The other thing is that Ethereum is now a deflationary currency. So last year there was an update which essentially was starting to burn Ethereum, which meant that Ethereum is becoming deflationary. So there already is Ethereum burning now, but when we move to proof of stake, that will even be higher, because the amount of people who'd be locking their ETH up for staking. When you lock loads of ETH up for staking, you burn ETH, you create halvings. So you create massive halvings to the supply. And what happens when you reduce supply? You increase the price of Ethereum. So there are some speculators that say that Ethereum could be worth, 20 to 50 to even $100,000 per Ethereum if the proof of the merge is right, and we see the migration of at least a percentage of the world's financial transactions move to Ethereum. Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunities, but there's a risk as well. As we saw with Luna, there's still a ton of risk. Things can go wrong.
Yeah. And we were having the debate kind of before this talk about the about the people building applications within Ethereum, and if Ether rises to like 100K, can it be like sustainable for people to build applications on this platform? But then obviously you were kind of explaining that things could happen like on a layer 2 sort of protocol. And I think it would be interesting because obviously, you've educated me a lot on like, layer 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think, again, for the beginners out there who are watching this and want to understand that there's different layers to this, it would be really great if you could
absolutely,
for the layman's out there, the simpletons such as myself, if you could break the layers down for everyone, that would be really great.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So Ethereum, the one of the big complaints about Ethereum is that the gas fees are too high. Yeah. It cost me £100. I'm transferring £200, and I've been charged £100. So that is in many ways by design, because the plan with Ethereum is going to be essentially the settlement layer for DeFi. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be doing all your transactions using Ethereum's base layer, because it's just not scalable. Yeah. So what is happening is there is the introduction of layer 2 protocols, which are essentially technologies which have been developed to ease the stress, particularly financial stress, of people doing transactions on the Ethereum network. So Polygon's a great example. So Polygon is a really exciting project in which, as well as many different things, you're going to be able to do low-cost transactions because you will not actually be exchanging through Ethereum. The Polygon network will be an intermediary between you and the Ethereum blockchain, and the sharding mechanism which will come into place will reduce the gas fees for layer 2s. It won't reduce gas fees for consumers, but most consumers will just interface with layer 2s. So the future, I think, and I obviously could be wrong in this, I think that we're going to see a world in which Ethereum will be the base layer, will be almost the concrete foundations to DeFi, and then you're going to have buildings on top which are layer 2s, and you're going to have all this web applications and stuff going on above the Ethereum settlement layer. So it's a common misconception, and I don't think Vitalik or anyone in the Ethereum community is saying that Ethereum is going to be the one to go to officiate low cost transactions. That would be layer 2. So that is the answer to that question.
Yeah,
hopefully it's
great.
Settled. Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered a lot there.
Yeah.
So hopefully that you guys out there understand the merger a bit more, what's going on, why it is so exciting.
Yeah.
And it's exciting times. And if you want to follow more updates in the metaverse crypto space, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. We're going to be dropping the latest insights as we see it every week. And until then, good luck in Web3 and the metaverse.